Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's real late, Hot 97. My name is Peter Rosenberg, and I always get excited to have new great artists on the show. I get even more excited when those artists represent the area I'm originally from, the DMV,
Yeah.
from Capitol Hill to be exact. Ankhlejohn on the program. What up, man?
Yo, what's going on, man? We live, man. You did.
It's official.
Lordy.
Yeah. Yo, man, I'm happy to have you on the show, and I'm happy when I first started hearing about your music. I guess it was through my guy, Mark, Top Shelf Premium, who put me on to everything you had going on down there. And
Yeah.
then I tapped in and saw just how much noise you were making. So first of all, before we get into some of that noise, why don't you tell people a little bit about where you're from
Yeah.
and how you came up as an MC, Ankhlejohn?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm from DC, man. I'm actually from, you know what I mean, the land DC. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, it's kind of hard to, to break down. Not hard, but for the outside world, it's hard to break down the actual. I'm from DC, so a lot of things, they got it's that stigma of the DMV. You know what I mean? But you want to be known that you're from DC, though. You know what I mean? And so I'm actually from DC, man. Born and raised. You know what I mean? I'm from Southeast DC. You know, that's the home, man. You know what I mean? I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. You know what I mean? It's the city is what has made me as a young man. You know what I mean? So I'm proud to be from here, man. This is a very important place that I'm from, and being from here, we might overlook it and take it for granted, but this is the capital of the nation, which is technically like the capital of the world in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything as far as political action, it starts from here. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of like put me in the mindset of a lot of different things, man. I meet a lot of different people from other places, and I really grow to appreciate exactly where it is that I'm from. So this is where I'm from. You know what I mean? This is where I am right now. I currently live on Capitol Hill right now, so I'm actually not too far from where they make them laws at. You know, uh, um,
Can you
as far,
actually can you see the Capitol from where you're at?
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I go well, not exactly from my house, but if I walk up, I live right by Pennsylvania, right on Pennsylvania Avenue. I walk literally to the 7-Eleven where I go get my shit at, and I can stand and I can see the Capitol very clearly, super clearly. I may be about maybe 9 blocks from the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really right there.
And what was your as a kid? What was the hip hop that got you? What was the music that sort of got your attention?
As a kid, mind you, I'm 27. You know what I'm saying? So keep in mind this: I'm 27 and I'm from DC, right? So um, I'm this is a go-go city. I'm
Well,
strictly a go-go. Like, you
that's
know what
why
I'm
I
saying?
wanted to
Like,
get your story because whenever you find rappers from DC, you
yeah,
have to figure out how, especially if you're from the hood in DC, how
yeah,
you ended up a hip hop head. Because I really do feel like go-go is a double-edged sword. I
yeah.
culturally love it, especially since I moved away. I love it even more.
Hmm.
But there is the existence of go-go in ways complicates the relationship with hip-hop in the city that might exist otherwise,
100.
because a lot of go-go heads when I was a kid, I'm 13 years older than you, but when I was a kid, a lot of go-go heads really weren't messing with rap. Like
Yeah,
they were into go-go. So
yeah.
how did you find your way to hip-hop, and were you also a go-go fan, or were you one of
Oh
the
yeah,
kids who was
one
like,
hundred
nah, I'm a
percent.
hip-hop?
I'm a go-go baby. You know what I mean? Like my mom's probably met my father at a go-go. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a true story actually. You know what I mean? So, especially stemming from my mom, man. Like she's a heavy go-go head. Like my mom was really into go-go's, even still to this day. You know what I mean? Her being close to 50 years old, a heavy Rare Essence fan. You know what I mean? So I grew up
I was
under
gonna say it had to be RE or
oh,
Junkyard that your parents met at.
100%, 100%. RE Junkyard, 100%. You know what I mean? And that was the music as a kid that I was forced upon under. So me growing into my own go-go age, the younger bands started to come out, and that was taking over. Late elementary, middle school, early high school, we was in them go-go's. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about 1,200 kids from all different places, from the ages of 13 to up to 18. And if it was an 18 and over, you sneak into the 18 and over club. So I really come from that culture, which is such a different culture, but it's not too different in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So, dealing with that, and also still, man, I was very special because even though I was so much of a heavy go-go head, at some point down the line, hip hop came into me. So my early ages of dealing with hip hop was getting into like that culture of like the early 2000s, the G Unit era, the Rockefeller era, Dipset, and you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
State Property. Then it kind of got more down southern because even with the male figures in my life, or who my mom was maybe dealing with at that time, if they were listening to hip hop, it was more southern based rap, rap a lot. You know what I'm saying? Devin the Dude, 3 6 Mafia, Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Which
what
is
the
which
old.
is which in DC, I can't stress this enough. I always try to school people up here. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how big Rap a Lot,
Oh yeah.
all that stuff is so big in DC.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
it going all the way back to when I was a kid, you would have damn near thought the Ghetto Boys were from DC.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
big in
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is a, Black culture in DC is its own. Go-go isn't the only thing that makes it unique. It's one of the things that makes it unique, but it's
Yeah.
very much its own unique place culturally relative to Philadelphia, relative to New York, relative to the South. So it's just funny to hear that the dudes your mom was messing with when you were a kid. Yeah, of course, Devin the Dude,
Yeah.
uh, Rap a Lot,
Yeah.
all that. That's DC guys. That's a thing about men from DC, honestly.
And no, and no, and they also was a heavy connection to DC because even with the bands like Backyard or whatever the case may be, if they was bringing someone out, it was more so them. You know what I mean? So
Yep,
these dudes are actually, getting come to a go-go and rap with Backyard. You
yep.
know what I'm saying? So, they, and even in that culture where it was like, yo, it was like, you could even speak upon it better than me, but I hear it passed down the line. There was a time where it wasn't cool to be a rapper in DC. If you was a rapper in DC, you was trying to be like from New York. We looking
Yep.
at you like, what you trying to be from New York or something? Like, so DC I need people to understand how unique this city really is. It's really a for us, by us city. If you're trying to do anything that's coming from that's why there's no gang banging in DC. There's no Crips and Bloods in DC. There's no, our fashion sense is from the local brand, Sabiato, All Days, Shooters. You know what I mean? Like we really honed in our own culture. So if you was accepted in, oh yeah, you was very special. And them down south rappers, man, was, they was invited in, man. You know what I'm saying? So, going back to my history, I ended up taking a liking more to the New York rappers. Like I said, that culture started to come in with Dipset and 50. And I wanted to be like 50. Like 50 is kind of like what made me pick up the pen. You know what I'm saying? Them early G Unit tapes, early 50 tapes. You know what I'm saying? I was on it. My mom was taking me to out Baltimore or whatever in DC. And if they had a mixtape stand, I was copping, she gave me $20. I'm copping 4 or 5 mixtapes at a time. You know what I mean? Like every chance that I get, going to out Iverson Mall or going, you know what I mean, the PA Palace. I started to get into actual rap mixtapes. And then from that point on, I'm seeing different people that's on the mixtapes, and then it just became a snowball effect. So it started from that, man. And from there it was just like, I ended up meeting one of my brothers, my closest friend, like early high school. And this guy, he was Muslim. The first Muslim guy that I ever met. Really real Muslim, no, but intelligent, you know what I mean, and cultural, from DC as well. But he was so musically ahead though, man. So musically ahead.
Mhm.
Like, this was the early iPod, the first generation iPod days. I would get this man my iPod. He would go home and load up my music with discographies from everything from jazz to hip hop, Mobb Deep, Woo, everything, man. You know what I mean? I don't know where he got it from, but he passed it on to me. And this is still my close friend to this day. So I owe a lot to him. I owe a lot to him for me to start digging. I started to dig more. And then once I started, then it just became out of that, man. It just became a snowball effect. I just got into underground hip hop as much as I could. I really didn't get into much of DC underground until I started to, get on the scene myself. So I'm not really all the way familiar with, the rappers that came out in the 90s, other than like Section 8 Mob and Oi Boys and, things in that
There's
nature.
not a lot.
It's not really a lot,
There's
man.
not a lot. It's not a lot for you to hold on to. Me, you're talking about a handful of people. You're talking about, Nonchalant, Question Mark Asylum. I
Mhm.
mean, these cats who got deals quickly, and they were around for a little bit. Of course, Nonchalant went on to have a career as a radio host, but like this was, DC really, and that's why it'll end up coming full circle because we got to have a conversation too about Wale, because
Right,
that
for sure.
that is really when DC started to change in
Mm-hmm.
terms of it becoming a destination.
Yeah.
Because the history, and again, and that's where the go-go part is interesting. It just has made it a really complex area for artists to come out and get treated properly as MCs, finding that identity. Because it was kind of like you. Do you identify more with the Southern rap, or do you identify more with New York?
Yep. Yep.
There wasn't a lot to identify with as a DC rap head. That wasn't a thing. So one of the things, so let's talk about your emergence on the actual scene then. So you fall in love with hip hop, the mixtapes, 50, etc. And then at what point do you start taking it serious and putting out music, and people
Yeah.
start consuming it a bit?
Yeah. So before the music, I was into like visual art. Like again, and this is
Right.
stemming. So this is my introduction into coming into like New York culture, because I was heavy into like graffiti randomly. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't out like really out going to do it, but the concept of it, while the school that I went to had a few Hispanics, and you know what I mean, and they were on it, man, talented. And it wasn't even just about graffiti and as a culture, but just the surface level of it, just how beautiful it was, how these people were able to put letters together. So it started from that, you know what I mean? And from that point on, you know, um, I applied to get into an art school. And mind you, at this point in time, I'm writing. I am writing with lyrics, but that wasn't.
And where did you go to high school?
I went to high school. I went to Cesar Chavez over in Northeast. Then I graduated from a school called Thurgood Marshall Academy over in Southeast, right by Bray Farms, right by, you know what I mean, right in the
Yep.
trenches. Beautiful school though, very
Yep.
good school though, very, very, very good school, like a college prep, top tier school. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
um, so I'm into writing, and make a long story short, my dream got deferred with the art standpoint. I applied to get into a school named Duke Ellington, the top art school in DC. I applied to get in for visual art. I didn't get in, so it was kind of like I dropped the pen on the art scale, but then picked it up, with writing. Started off with doing spoken word first. Before I started recording, it was spoken word, right? um Doing little slam contests and things in that nature. Then I kind of quickly figured out that at the end of the day, man, it wasn't no popularity in it. I couldn't see a foreseen future in it. I couldn't get no money from it. It was cool, you know what I mean, getting your little snaps and you know what I mean, and people respecting your pen in that nature. But I seen a bigger picture, so I started recording, right? In the sense, in between of me starting to record, I was already performing, because I'm doing these spoken word contests, and I'm already developing my delivery on a microphone and getting used to a crowd, getting used to being in front of people. So my stage fright was out of the window. I wasn't scared to be on stage in front of nobody. No matter how many people you put in a room, I got two options: either embarrass myself, or come out here making a damn impact. That was my two options. So my stage fright, my delivery got up, you know what I mean, started recording, boom, boom, boom. And I ended up getting a gig at Bus Boys and Paws. You familiar with Bus Boys and Paws? Bus Boys and
Of
Paws.
course.
Early,
Very important cultural spot in DC.
very important. You know what I mean? So I started hosting open mics as a youth, starting to host them, you know what I mean? And having other people come up and share their talent and doing the things that they want to do, and that caused a big, like a big audience for it, man. Them things was packed out. You couldn't even get inside of them. We had every second Saturday of the month, I'm talking about kids from all different types of high schools coming in to share their talent. And that was my platform. That was something that I created. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, during that era, this was downtown, and somehow, some way, man, one of my friends introduced me, showed me a video of these guys having a rap shows up the street, up on Georgia Avenue. I'm talking about 4 underground rap shows. And I'm just thinking to myself, how don't I know this? I was just embarrassed at the simple fact that I wasn't a part of it. And I never even
Right.
heard of it. But man, this is the beginning, the era of underground DC hip hop is for my generation. I'm talking about a lot of these artists. This first time I've seen Logic. Logic came up. He performed one time. This is before he was Logic. Logic. This is regular rap stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like I remember him coming up, giving me props. This is the early Ku Klux Klan days. Sir EU, Aviana Drama, rest in peace. You know what I mean? Like a lot of artists, man, has emerged since them days. But that was the start of it, though, man. You know what I mean? And because I was late to the audience, it was hard for me to get on shows. You know what I mean? So I would come up at the end of the show, they'd do a cipher and I rip it. I'm killing it. Every chance I could get on the mic, I'm showing and proving. You know what I'm saying? And from that stage, like it was hard navigating because I've already found my sound. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of pretty new, so these were the times where I was feeling like, either one, you know, like I wasn't getting let in at some type of point. I kind of felt some type of blackballed, and I'm a very opinionated person even back then. So I started voicing my opinions a lot and maybe started create a bad look for myself. And so I started to move with a grudge, and that kind of goes into like the Wale thing, which we'll talk about. So that was my standpoint on like the local rap. And during the line, man, I just say, you know what, I'm gonna just take this and just run with it, do what I do, create my own lane. And that's what it's been since my early local DC days up until now. And it
And
worked for
when did
me.
you get when and why did you come up with the name Uncle John spelled the way it's spelled?
For sure, which is a gift and a curse, man, because a lot of people, Ankhlejohn, they give me all types of goddamn name. Ankhlejohn, Ankhlejohn, it's crazy, man. But yeah, so during them times where I was into like the spoken word and the poetry, I started to, get into finding some type of knowledge of myself. Actually, kind of relatable to you, right? You're Jewish, right?
Mhm.
So I was in a program in high school. It was, I don't mean to be so long-winded, but it's very important. I was
No,
in a
no, please.
program. I was in a program in high school. Um, that it was for Jewish students and for African American students, right? It was very hard to get into the program, but the program, they went to top tier schools, private schools, public schools, and they did interviews for people to get inside this program, right? I ended up getting this inside. Actually, me and the guy that I told you about that put me onto the music. Me and my bro, we get accepted into the program. Very hard program to get into. 11 African American students and 11 Jewish students. We take a whole year to study each other's cultures. The first part of the
Mm.
year, the first part of the year, we do like, we it's just based on educational, So one meeting may be about, the transatlantic slave trade. The next session may be about the Holocaust, and this next section might be about, just really just bouncing back and forth through our cultures. The second part of the program over the summer is we would take the same path as the Freedom Riders. So we'd start from DC, went to Borough Park, New York, went to the Jewish community, and just went on down south. I'm talking about, man, I've met the best of them, man, all types of civil rights leaders, all types of rabbis. We done went to all type of synagogues, all types of churches, historical churches. Man, very emotional experience, man. All types of museums being put in, installations, crazy, man. I'm talking about so this was a year that I really learned about my culture as a black man and also about the Jewish community. So I have really,
Mm.
man, we used to trade days. Like some days, my Jewish students and our friends, they have to come to our church or come to our home. And if it's like a Sabbath or a Passover, we would come to their crib. You know what I mean? It was a very beautiful program. But all in all, I say all this to say that I learned myself during that program. I came back and I went deeper. So I started to dig deep into, ancient civilizations, specifically ancient Cometicism, Egyptology, and I was just heavy on it, man. So the Ankh was just a very special symbol to me. At that point, I was going by Uncle John, spelled regular Uncle John, right? And then I just flipped it, man. Like some wordplay shit, just added the actual Ankh in there. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty cool, pretty clever. You know what I mean? And, people loved it at the time, but now people seem to can't even, But at
Well,
the
I
same
think I think
time,
you
it's like
you well you hit a
I'm
middle
able to
ground.
teach.
You hit a
I'm,
middle
I'm
ground.
able to teach at the same time because for those who don't know it, they ask, so what is an Ankh? So I'm able to give them and these may
So
be
what
my
is the So
so
tell us.
so I mean, keep it on the surface level. We could look at it as a divine symbol, um, equating to eternal life. You know what I mean? And the birth process of giving birth. You know what I mean? So it's more of a feminine symbol in a sense, dealing with the women's fallopian tube and the womb. But it all represents life, though. At the end of the day, once I'm gone physically off this planet, I live through this symbol, which is giving me eternal life. You know what I mean? So it was a thing back then where even still to this now, I'm smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? I do things on a daily basis to actually kill my body. You know what I mean? So in the sense of me even killing myself, not to be so harsh, but I still know that I'm looking forward to having eternal life. I'm gonna be here forever, man. I'm creating a history, you know what I mean, a platform for myself that I want to last for eternal, for forever, man. When you dig me up thousands of years from now, I hope you be able to dig up something, a vinyl. I don't give a damn what it is, a picture, you know what I mean, an article, whatever it is, a video of Ankhlejohn. And that's, to me, that's standing for eternal life. I feel like people like Biggie and Pac, they have eternal life. They represent what an Ankh is really is. You know what I mean? They was given birth and they gonna live here forever. So that's how I took on it, man. You know what I mean? And I think I'm even for my age, I got an old soul, so I'm looked at as an uncle to a lot of people, you know what I mean? And so it was
Was
just
that
a
where it
good,
came from? Is that what the Ankhlejohn was though?
yeah, for
Just
sure.
being like an uncle?
Yep, 100%. 100%.
So, all right. So let's talk about how early on some of your buzz did come from you talking about a lot of people and taking shots, including at Wale. But there were others too, right? I feel like Logic caught a stray too.
Sure, man. I'm a hip hop head, man. Mind you, like I told you, I came into hip hop all 50. I came
Then
into
there's that part.
I
Yep.
came to hip hop off of rap beef. Like I fell in love with the idea of 50 thrashing Ja Rule. That's what made me as to Ankhlejohn as far as the hip hop artist. So that's all I know. You know what I mean? So once the era started to change, I didn't change with the era. Once it became uncool to diss now, it's uncool to do these type of things. You should just get it on your own, because now if you diss someone who might have a little bit more stature to you, you clout chasing now. You know what I mean? Now we in this new nuance era. When to me it was just like, competition. It's a sport. I'm still in the sport era of hip hop. You know what I mean?
Right. So you
So,
were calling out the big names, trying to make a name for yourself.
oh, 100%. Because I feel like I'm better
Um,
than you. I feel like if I feel like I'm better than you, and this is a sport to me, then I'm going to prove why I'm better than you. But I'm going to take some. I'm also going to throw you under the bus that lets you know why I'm better than you. That was my mindset. You know what I mean? And that's the sport of it. It wasn't anything like.
and how did it work out? How did it work out for you? How did that work out?
Like sometimes it went up. Sometimes it went up, even if it was more on the peer-to-peer base, if it's another local rapper, it works out, man. Because I'm the only one doing it, and the way that I go about it is, I'm gonna throw in a classic beat, you know what I'm saying, and just showplace my skill, showplace why I'm doing this in the first place. So sometimes it work out, but overall, it creates a bad stigma. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, this dude, we can't really put him in the same room with this dude because he's more willing. He said something about him, and it might not go. It just might not fit. People began, they got soft with it, man. You know what I mean? And so it worked out in a sense, but overall, I think it really created more of a bad stigma than a good one. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you get your props, yeah, you nice and all, but you're a liability in a sense. So even with the Wale situation, like now that I look back on it, a lot of my people, they loved it, man. Obviously, the people who may even relate to me, who might even feel the same way that I feel, they love, woo, 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 yeah, you killing them, you. You know what I mean? But it creates a bad stigma. At the end of the day, don't matter how I look at it. From the people that don't know me, the people that's on the outside looking in, it's like, well, you're from DC, he's from DC or from the area. Why are you going at him? You know what I mean? So, and it took me to grow wise into that. I'm 27 now. Within a year, I could grow wise to myself and understand the things that I've been doing wrong in this whole time. No matter what I don't like about the man. If I don't know him, I've never met Wale a day in my life. You know what I mean? So why am I coming at this man and trying to belittle this man when he's opened a door, whether it's for directly for me, but he's opened up a door for others in my hometown.
That
100%.
is a fact.
Wale is when it comes to rap, hip hop in DC, he's the alpha. It is what it is. Globally, he's the alpha. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to give respect to that. And there was a time where I really appreciated Wale's music. I respected him, and I still do. But that early Wale though, you know what I'm talking about? And I know that early
Yeah.
Wale. Come on, man, is nice, man. Is very nice. So I respect this man pen. You know, I can't really relate to him, man. I can't relate to being on that stature. He's a star. So the things that he deal with on his everyday basis is something that I'm not used to. So how he reacts emotionally on camera, off camera, I can't relate to it. So I shouldn't be judging it. I don't know that I
Right.
need to, pretty much what I'm saying is I need to know my place. You know what I mean? When the time will come to where as though I have that type of attention, maybe I'll understand more. But right now, I need to know my place. You know what I'm saying? So, I look back at it and it was kind of just like absurd to me that I took it to that length. You know what I mean? Like, but all in
And
all, like,
also fundamentally, I'm glad to hear you say that because fundamentally, I say this as someone who's known him since he first got in the game. He's also just a good person, right? And like he's had a lot of, I think DC, being from DC, as we've talked about, is so challenging and so different, and there's no blueprint. And then he did become this figure. But DC is interesting because people will prop you up and people will pull you down. So
sir.
it's a complicated thing, And Wale is an emotional dude. He's an honest, sensitive person. He's been open about that. A lot of
Yeah.
people talk about mental health. They do it to be cool. They talk about it in a way to get credit. He's always talked about it in a very honest,
Mm-hmm.
real way about who he is and what he deals with. And I've been with him, in real settings where I've seen how he reacts to things and the struggles that he has being a star.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, A, great person, and B, as you pointed out, there's no bigger rapper ever from DC. It's not even close. You know what I'm saying? It's not even close.
Yeah.
And now we're in a place where the doors are open and there are opportunities for a cat like yourself. That's why I'm glad to hear that you went down this path because, yeah, it just makes a lot more sense for people to be on the same page than on different pages. You know what I
100%.
mean?
100%. 100%.
Especially if you care about this culture ultimately. Like there are a few names. You have Wale, who's been putting it down on a huge level. You have my brother, who you've worked with now, Odyssey, who's put it
Yeah.
down on another level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so there are a few people who have really repped for that flag, but it's not a ton. So I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear this is the path you're on. And also, you had a child, right?
Yeah. That's the other thing about it, man. It's like, as a father now, again, that comes with that wisdom. My mindset is changing, man, towards a lot of things, my attitude and how it's very self-reflecting, man, having a child, man. It's a very beautiful thing, but it's very, very self-reflecting. And I know he's a father, so it's just like, man, just on man time, just on that surface level alone, we got kids, man. You know what I mean? So I can't be someone who I'm a father of, disrespecting another person who's a father. Who we alike, really. Like, I'm emotional too. You know what I mean? I might know how to control my emotions in a different aspect, but it's like, I actually relate more with them than I think I do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm
That
pretty.
happens a lot of. I feel like a lot of beefs early on are times where there are people we don't like. A lot of times it turns out we're more similar than we realize. Well, there are two ways it goes. In my life, at least, I've had two kinds of feuds with people. I've had kinds where I didn't like them and they were really similar to me. And it turned out we got very close as a result of the friction.
Mm,
And then only on a few occasions, there have been people who I knew I didn't mess with their energy for a reason. And as time has gone on, I was proven correct that I knew what I saw was correct. And
yeah,
it
yeah,
turned out to be that. But
yeah.
very often, it's like actually on some level, there's a connection there. And
Connection,
and
man.
there's a friction as a result.
100%.
Um,
100%.
so musically, what's next for Uncle John? What do you have in the pipeline?
Musically, I'm dropping that album pretty soon, man. I'm entitled it As Above, So Below. It's produced by a cat named Navy Blue. Very talented brother right there. He's like best friends with Earl Sweatshirt. You know what I mean? So it's like this could be a pretty good look for me. It's a crazy duality from his style and from my style. You know what I'm saying? It's like a blend of both worlds. You know what I mean? He come from like more of an introspective format of rapping and production. Me, I'm more a little raw and gritty with mine, you know what I mean? So blending them both together is a beautiful thing. I got a album with Dash, album with Rome Streets coming, you know what I mean? So more collab
Mm.
albums up in the air, and really, man, I'm just trying to take it to the next. I'm not trying, but I am taking it to the next level, man. I'm trying to take it to the next level because I deserve it. I feel like I got a voice. I feel like a lot of people need to hear my voice, man. You know what I mean? Because you know I'm a student of it though, Rosenberg. Like, I'm a student of this, and I'm a fan first. I need people to understand that. Like, I'm a fan first of this. So a lot of people get confused about me, how so loose I am. Cause I'm an actual fan of this shit, man. I haven't gotten to the point where it was like, you know what? Maybe I should watch what I say on this platform because of my quote unquote brand, right? Because I'm still in the same position as the next hip hop head who has an opinion of who he think album is better than the next album, who he think rapper is better than the next. I'm still on that level with it, you know what I mean? So, you know, I'm very open with it, man. And but I just want to continue to grow. You know, I grow as a man first, as a father, and then, you know, as an artist is third. You know what I mean? But the artist is how I, you know, what I give to the world. It's how I make my money, man. You know, it's how I'm able to take care of myself. You know, so I'm still willing to grow, man. You know, I'm still looking for, you know, for a team. You know, I don't have managers, I don't have PRs. This is really, I do this very naked. You know what I mean? Very independent at its most. But I am ready for the next level. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just enjoying my time in the industry because now I'm having a good time, man. You know what I mean? I'm getting some traction. You know what I mean? I'm linking up with artists and people that I've always dreamed of. You know what I mean? Like having an interview with you. This is something that was a dream. You know what I mean? So obviously I'm going in the right direction. So it's time to up it up a little notch. You know what I'm saying? And soon,
Yeah.
within the next year or two, 3 years from now, you know what I mean? We're going to have another conversation like, man, I remember, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm going in that path, man. You know what I mean? And I'm focused. You know, I'm dealing with real life. You know what I'm saying? Like life kicks my ass. I'm human. I'm a man. You know what I mean? Life kicks my ass. This corona, this pandemic has been kicking my ass this year. You know what I mean? So, but other than that, I'm still able. I got my 2 arms and my 2 feet, and we're gonna keep it moving, man.
Listen, his name is Ankhlejohn. If you're not familiar, get familiar. Ankhle, John. Uncle John. Check him out. Go stream his music. We're going to work on something down the road, too. I'm glad we got to catch up and have this conversation, man. And like you said, many more soon come.
Yeah, shout out to my man Mark too, though, man. Top shelf, man.
Yep.
Without top shelf, without Mark, man, this probably wouldn't even be possible. You know what I
100%.
mean? We doing another show pretty soon. I think he wanted me to leak that information out. You know, we got another one of them shows coming up soon, man. I think late
Supply and
December.
demand. I heard it's
You know
coming
what I
back.
mean? It's coming back. I think December 5th. You know, correct me on the date if I'm wrong, but you know, supply and demand, we definitely coming back. So shout out to Mark, shout out to Rosenberg, man. You know what I mean? Lordy,
Appreciate
man.
you, bro. Yeah, supply and demand is coming soon. Follow my guy at Top Shelf Premium. He's basically my A&R, man. Puts me on to all the hot ish. So I appreciate him greatly. Ankhlejohn, we'll build soon. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Throwback next. It's real late. Hot 97.